Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Why You Do This. Oh, fuck. I gotta turn that way the fuck down. That is really loud. Okay.
Round two.
As I was saying, welcome back, guys, to another episode of Why You Do This. Today we're gonna be talking about everything that we learned in this week about some science stuff.
Yeah.
Such as the Measles Outbreak, genetic modification, ice on the moon, and a hell of a lot more. Anyways, let's get right into it. And my computer froze. There we go.
Yay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
We've been going, what is this? We're 3 weeks in? 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks today.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for sticking along for the ride.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, first item on the docket is the measles outbreak that's going on over in the EU right now.
And in the States, too.
Yeah, a little bit in the States. A lot more prevalent in the EU from what I understand.
Okay. Well, hold up. I got to cut you off real quick.
All right, go ahead.
We're wearing lab coats because we're certified doctors.
Basically the real deal.
So don't ever question any of our facts or any of our research. Ever.
All right. So getting right into it. In the first, I think it's what we're well into halfway through 2018 now at this point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
August now.
8 months.
8 months, baby.
2/3.
Oh God, it sucks. Anyway, so in the first half of 2018, there have already been 41,000 confirmed cases of the measles in the EU, which is a little less than double from 2017. In all of 2017, they had 23,000. So to put that into perspective, they've got 41,000 cases confirmed in the first half of 2018. Okay?
So that's almost...
So that's double what it was
last year.
All of 2017.
Okay.
Last year. And then the year before that was 5,000.
Okay.
So right now we're on, well, not we, the EU is on pace for 3 years, or not 3 years, but 2 years of quadruple growth for measles outbreak cases.
And so I did a little research on this, and the cause of it is this whole stigma behind vaccinating your kids.
Yeah, which blows my goddamn mind.
There has been no science that has proven, no logged, recorded scientific fact that has proven that vaccinations lead to autism.
Unless Jenny McCarthy was wearing a lab coat. But I doubt it.
That's just from what I read in scholarly articles that had to do with vaccinations and autism. But, you know, your Facebook articles, those are always...
Well, what I think is funny is that this vaccination has been around since the 60s. Okay? Why are we having problems with it now? Did we get a bad batch? Do we need to contact the manufacturer?
So the thing is viruses can update. I guess they can evolve.
Yep.
They're an animal just the same as anything else.
Much quicker than we can, or like any larger organism because they're so small.
Right, but when you don't vaccinate these kids, not only does that leave them at risk, but it leaves other kids at risk as well.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you don't want to vaccinate your kid, I get
that's your own prerogative.
I guess that's your deal.
Yeah.
No matter how much I would disagree with it.
Yep.
But I'm not going to let your shitty kid come and play with any of my kids or anything like that. I wouldn't even want my kid going to the same school as somebody who wasn't vaccinated.
Right. And it's so mind-boggling that the technology age that we're in, and all these parents that are, our age, are believing everything that they see on Facebook, because that's normally where they get a lot of their information, which there's some information on Facebook that has led us to dig deeper in a lot of cases.
That's where you guys get your information, right?
Yeah.
From us.
From us.
Lab coats. Fucking official.
We're doctors. We're doctors.
Doctors.
But,
drunk doctors.
but yeah, it's like, it's a misinformed population of people that are going based off of what's popular and what's not popular.
Yeah. So one thing that I thought was kind of interesting too, reading a little bit more into this, is that 2 countries in Europe have passed bills mandating vaccination, and that's Italy and Romania. So you can still not have your child vaccinated,
but it's against the law.
But you'll pay a hefty fine for it, which I think that's fair. I mean, I don't really care for the government sticking its nose in people's family matters and things like that. But as far as this goes, when you are not taking the responsibility to vaccinate your child,
right,
you should be held accountable for that. Like, there's 37 confirmed deaths from this already.
37.
37.
Yeah.
In 2018, and that's it.
And that's just in the EU. And so, I feel like a lot of people in this country, the EU is still kind of foreign. Yes, they're an ocean away. Well, how does that affect us? There's been 107 cases so far in 21 states in the United States.
Really?
And I was actually listening to something. This is a little off topic, but they were talking about the whole thing, and they're like 21 states, including Florida. I don't know what it is about Florida, but Florida's fucked regardless.
Dude, they're like the ugly stepchild of the states. Them in Louisiana, I feel like they're just like, even Louisiana,
right?
Even Florida. It's
but it's such a big issue that's been so hot button for so many different parents, especially coming up in our age, that they're having kids and like, oh, I don't want to vaccinate my kids because it could lead to autism. Well, no, I don't.
Which would you rather have? Would you rather have an autistic kid or a dead one?
Right. Like,
that's your options. I'll roll the dice with autistic.
Right. But now, whether or not you want to believe science, which you should, because it's well documented and a repeatable process, there has been no science that has proven that vaccines do anything to stop autism.
I don't think there ever will be.
No, there never will be. But it's crazy to think that something that is as outdated as measles is coming back because of popular opinion due to misinformed people.
The problem, I think a lot of it stems from people thinking that their opinion is worth as much as a fact. And it's not. Jim Jeffries. That's main.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of attest to that. That makes sense. My opinion is definitely not fact, but when I'm telling you this is a fact that I read.
No, that's different.
Right.
That's different.
If you have facts to support your opinion.
If you looked me in the eye right now and told me that the ceiling of this room is white, and I said, no, purple. I'm fucking wrong.
Right.
You can do 10 out of 10 paint scheme tests or whatever, the little things you get from Menards, and hold them up there. I guarantee you 0 out of 10 times it's coming back purple.
Right. And I don't know, like how do we combat this issue though?
I think a government mandated deal is going to be what it's going to take, because otherwise there are always going to be people who refuse to follow suit. And That's your right. But you're going to have to pay for it.
Okay. And I feel like that's fair. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the government sticking their nose in my business. Granted, I am a government employee, so they know everything.
Funny how that works, isn't
it? Yeah. Yeah, fucking, I'm going to hold my tongue on that issue. But, it's just, it's crazy to see that these people that are making these decisions are now affecting their kids long term. Because is there any, like, long-lasting effects of measles? I know there is for smallpox, and it's...
To be honest, I don't know.
It's shingles. If you get chickenpox or smallpox, you're going to get shingles later in life. So I have no idea what the measles does, but... Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you not? I'd like to think that most people are not that stupid to just be ignorant and not get your kids vaccinated.
You'd think that.
You would think.
But I feel like there are a lot of people who just don't think and see something and do it.
I guess.
Or see something that a celebrity is saying and think that that's worth as much as what 60 years of science has to say about the matter.
And we touched on this last week when we were talking about hive mindset. We need to break free from this hive mindset and start listening to people that actually have the research and have done the experiments and have done the tests.
How about those people whose job it is to do this instead of actors?
Oh my gosh. Like, seriously, listen to professionals that get paid to do this.
100%. Like, if I need to figure out what's rattling around in my engine, I'll go to a mechanic, not a hairdresser. Now, that hairdresser might know quite a bit about vehicles, but they don't do it for a goddamn living.
Yeah, they're not getting paid. And I'm sure as hell not getting my hair cut by my mechanic.
100% correct. Shittiest haircut ever.
But okay. So, if you don't want to get your kids vaccinated now, they've got other ways that you can do it. And it comes down to what's probably going to be even more scary for these people that are trying to say, oh, I don't want to hurt my kids because I'm, this type of person and I only give them organic stuff. I don't mess around with that GMO fucking shit.
Okay.
Well, this technology called CRISPR, which is an acronym for clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic.
You got it. Come on.
Oh, fuck. What is it? Short palindromic repeats. There we go.
Yeah!
Nailed it. Yes. Oh, my God. But anyways, like, it's this technology where you take a cell that has this DNA for measles and the measles virus, right?
Okay.
And it uses this protein called the Cas9 protein, which is also, it's got this guide RNA in it, and it's a big process that I'm trying to dumb down as much as I can. But
for what it's worth, we encourage you to read about it.
And I'm definitely going to post some videos and links and all the articles that I read on it. So what this does is when you take these cells and you inject the CRISPR DNA or the CRISPR technology into it, it'll find where that measles virus infected the DNA of your kid, right?
Okay.
So whether or not you were vaccinated or your spouse or whatever who made the kid got vaccinated, because that's your body's already naturally doing that. But if you did that to your child who has the measles virus, this Cas9 protein is going to go in. It's going to find the infected cells, the infected DNA. And what it does is once it's super accurate and it matches the bases, the T, C's, and whatever. Remember the... No, but I don't know. You guys can watch the video afterwards. So what it does is it clips it. It finds those exact matches and it clips it.
Okay.
and it rewrites the DNA. So now that measles virus no longer exists.
Okay.
And
so
now
copy and paste it, or cut and paste itself
yep.
in and out. Okay.
It cuts and pastes an immunity that's not a shot.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
But now, so let's say they're immune to it, right? Well, they're immune to it now. Or they're not. Yeah, they're immune to it now, but their offspring, if their spouse or whoever they are with have the same CRISPR technology in them, their offspring and all of their offspring will be immune to measles.
Oh, okay. I see how, yep.
And so it doesn't work as fast as
a typical vaccine or something
right
like that.
Right. It takes a little longer because you're rewriting DNA.
Yeah.
You're not letting your body naturally build up antibodies to fight the virus.
Sure.
So it's going to take a couple generations before you'll actually see immunity. That's if the person they're partnered up with isn't immune. And then you'll start to see further down the line, they'll get more immune to it.
Okay.
And also, humans are very slow reproducing animals. If you think about it.
Depends where you're at, I'm sure.
In grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
In grand scheme of things. What they have been doing is this guy named Anthony James. Funny how that works.
Go like this
at UC Irvine.
Okay.
He has been studying mosquitoes for 30 years.
And shitty thing to study for 30 years.
But think about it. The thing that kills the most people on Earth is malaria.
Sure.
So he found a way to use this CRISPR technology to eliminate the malaria carrying mosquitoes through gene editing. Mosquitoes reproduce at a rapid rate.
Bunches.
And he had estimated at, I think it was about a year's worth of time before they could completely eradicate malaria by releasing a couple thousand of these lab.
So they just let them out. And
Yep. They're not harming the food chain at all. They're not getting rid of mosquitoes. They're not using harmful pesticides that cause other problems for humans and plant life and other animals. They're just editing this single gene within the mosquito that carries malaria. And what it slowly does, well, actually pretty rapidly over a year, is it just wipes out the other form of mosquito because they're reproducing at such a high rate that there's the red eye mosquito is
it's like genetic cherry picking, basically.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
And
I like that for that application, but I also feel like there could be a whole lot of fucking evil done with that.
There is
type of shit.
There is a lot of controversy over this CRISPR technology because, there's scientists that want it to be used for good. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, you know how great it would be to eliminate malaria, Zika virus, yellow fever, all those things that are killing bunches of people due to one tiny little organism.
Yep.
But if this gets into the hands of a totalitarian government like North Korea and they start using it to genetically modify babies and make the super soldiers to...
Not even so much that. It wouldn't even have to be that complicated. It could be something as simple as the opposite of the malaria killing mosquito. It could be something that has already got malaria in it and then release it via some kind of manner of trade or some kind of a bomb. Something, not a bomb per se. But
basically making an invasive species to another country.
Yeah. And then some kind of a wild outbreak occurs on that. Let's say they go a step further and take, we'll just use malaria for example. They have a mosquito, they give it malaria, but then they also edit the malaria to make it resistant to modern cures.
Yeah.
And then let that go someplace or whatever.
And that's where scientists are very weary.
I think it has a lot of potential for good, but at the same time, this is like what fucking supervillains are made out. Like,
yeah.
this is what gets supervillains dicks hard.
In the hands of the right people, this can be a very useful technology.
100%. Most technologies are.
But the other thing that is really interesting about this is like, okay, so let's say they do that. They make the super malaria.
Okay. Nobody probably thought of this until now, and now I just gave some crazy asshole who happens to watch our fucking podcast this idea.
Right. Make
Just kidding. Nobody watches our
make
podcast.
the super malaria. Now we start having to find something that we can edit in the gene structure of humans to maybe be resistant to malaria, super malaria.
It's going to be a nonstop edit off.
Yeah, it's just going to be, you know,
who can CRISPR the hardest.
Yeah, who's got the crispiest of the CRISPRs.
Who you want to get on my Krispy Kreme?
But it's you know, it's something that we've got to, you know, tread lightly.
Absolutely. I think there's a ton of potential, and I'm excited to see where it goes, especially not only for diseases like this, but even as far as cancer and things like that.
Well, and that's the thing, is you can use this stuff to eradicate the cancer cells.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, I was reading a study where they were implementing these in people who had certain cancer tumors,
Mm-hmm.
where and it spreads the cancer cells, but those cells always end up going back to the tumor at some point and then going back out again. So
Mm-hmm.
what they were doing was editing these cancer cells
Mm-hmm.
with CRISPR.
Yeah.
And basically making them kamikazes for
So
the actual tumors. So they would circulate, and then they would go back to wherever these tumors were, even if the doctors didn't know that they were there,
right.
or what, like real precursor tumor type shit.
Okay.
And these cells would go around the body and then eventually make their way back to the tumor that they originated from.
Right.
And kill that tumor.
Okay. So it was like a self-destruct sequence that...
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and that was another thing that I was reading. So it's not so much as like cancer cells as it is these things called senescent cells.
Yes.
And so cells die. Cells have a lifespan. And that's the reason why we die, because our cells just naturally
Decay.
Mm-hmm. But these senescent cells are basically half dead, half living.
Mm-hmm.
Where they don't... Within our cells' DNA, they have that destruct sequence where they kill themselves once they are no longer able to live. These senescent cells, however, don't have that written in there.
Mm-hmm.
So they just go on living as this half-dead cell, and that's what results in like diabetes and you know, Alzheimer's and all this shit. But you can use this CRISPR technology to go in and kill these senescent cells.
All the way.
So not saying that we're going to live forever, because immortality sounds like a horrible thing. I don't want to work forever.
Well, they still make guns.
Right. Like, you can just off yourself.
Or like really high stuff.
Right.
You can find a way.
Right.
If you were tired of it.
Right. But this thing is like, you could eliminate aging.
Yeah.
So you get to a point in time where you
die.
You look like this for 100 years.
Oh God, I don't want that. Just kidding.
You look the same as you are as an adult for 100 years. Or however many years.
that would be trippy as fuck.
Right? How old are you?
80. Shit.
Wow.
Right.
You look great for 80.
You're doing good.
Mm-hmm. But it's so crazy to think that a technology that, yes, there's going to be people that are going to want to use it for evil.
There always is.
But there's so many implementations of this technology that we could use for good, and I would be so on board to just...
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited to see where it goes, just
in the next like 10 years.
on the base of potential.
Right.
Nothing is set in stone. This isn't like anything that's currently being implemented now as far as people goes. I mean,
China's actually been testing it on people.
that does not surprise me.
They've been partially successful too.
You know what? China's going to do what China's going to do. If we get some good out of it, that's great.
A lot of what
I'm not going to hold my breath.
A lot of what I've actually been seeing as far as CRISPR implementation is, so you know that pig organs are very similar in size to our organs.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting rid of the genetic code that rejects.
Oh, okay. Yep.
When it gets transplanted into our body.
Sure.
So they're trying to eliminate that, which is
It's a good first step.
Right. So it's not, making sure that we're cure of diseases, but making sure that people on our long list of donors can now finally have a mass-produced way to shorten our donor list, shorten the time that they're going to be in hospital, and start to live longer, live happier, healthier lives.
It's just giving somebody a chance, and it's not at the expense of somebody else. It's not like, oh, your heart's in, but a 14-year-old died in a fucking car wreck for you to have it.
Right.
Make the best of it. You know? It's like we grew this in the backyard.
Right. And it's so crazy to think that is possible now.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a wild ride.
And mind you, this technology is 3 to 4 years old, but we've been gene editing since the 80s.
Yeah. The idea isn't new. The ability to do it.
Cheap, fast, and repeatable.
Now, I'll bet you if this gets to be stable, it won't stay cheap for long.
Yeah. There's a couple of universities that are fighting over the patent rights to it. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that goes through, you're going to be paying a licensing fee, which is really shitty because this is something that could potentially just blow the entire disease. We could eradicate everything.
Like, I understand wanting your name attached to it. That's why you wrote your name on your goddamn report in school. But that report didn't save billions of people.
Yeah. You're trying to capitalize on something that
you will get the recognition you deserve.
Oh, I guarantee that.
Promise.
Yeah, you're gonna get a Nobel Prize.
And if you're in the whole thing for money,
you're not doing it for the right reason.
Don't get me wrong, I'll appreciate it, but fuck.
It's not like you're not gonna be rich and famous.
You're already a doctor. Fuck off.
Yeah, you're gonna get paid.
Speaking of which, when do we start?
I know, right? We've just been rolling all facts and all the science stuff.
Sons of bitches. So I read about, since we're on the topic of cool science, there was another thing that I read about not too long ago that was NASA has discovered that there is ice on the moon.
Like meth?
No, not meth.
Oh.
I mean, there might be. I don't know. I don't think they're really looking for it, but
hey,
maybe.
Any meth dealers out there, head to the moon.
I'll bet it's a safe work environment out there. Out of most jurisdictions, I'd wager.
Yep.
Except for the Space Force.
Oh, God.
That's why Trump did it.
Oh, my God. It's the DEA up in space.
But yeah, so north and south pole of the moon, they've discovered two different ice formations.
Okay.
One of them, I think the northern one is spread really thin, but it's kind of all over. Mm-hmm. And then the one on the southern one is behind the shadows and inside of craters.
Okay.
Because the sun never shines in these spots, ever.
Right.
So how they were able to detect this was, which is fucking crazy. It blew my mind. So some guy at NASA was looking at the moon and thought, that doesn't look like moon rocks. And so he actually tested how fast light traveled through this surface and how certain rays affected the portions of the moon that he was looking at. Mm-hmm. And he was able to determine that it was frozen water.
Okay.
Based on how the light traveled through it, how it reflected light, and the different rays that would go through it and wouldn't go through it, which
Really?
I thought was insane that we're able to do that. Look at something, weigh the shit out there, and be like, ice.
He could totally be guessing. No one's gonna question him. Oh my god.
Like that, to me, that's crazy that we
Right.
can look at a different planet and tell that there's ice on it based on how light reacts to touching that particular surface. I think that's super crazy.
That's insane.
But what they're also theorizing is that there may be deposits of what's more than likely solid water,
Okay.
so more ice, I guess, under the surface of the moon, which potentially unlocks a ton of possibility for setting up some sort of operation base on the moon that would be able to harvest this water in whatever form it might be and really push itself forward in terms of being able to stay operable and things like that long term.
So are they talking like sustaining life up there, or just like?
I don't really think it's going to be something like what they're talking about with colonizing Mars. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to that big a scale or anything like that.
Right.
I think it's just maintaining something like the International Space Station, something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. And the other thing is like, politically, how does this play? Who owns the moon? And what are the laws of the moon?
Well, I mean, arguably, we've got a flag in it, so
We on the moon.
we
No givesies, backsies.
we kind of had dibs.
Dibs. A dibs is a dibs is a dibs.
So I think it would kind of have to be a joint thing, like how the International Space Station is run and something like that.
Yeah.
There'd have to be some kind of agreement.
Isn't it? Is that the Paris Accord?
I couldn't tell you. I read about ice on the moon, not the space station.
Who knows Neil deGrasse Tyson? Get him on the phone. Start checking our facts. There we go. Words are hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I get that. That's crazy. Like the moon is being able to hold water,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really know what the feasibility of actually sustaining some sort of base of operations up there. It's just this is just skeptical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only thing they know for sure is that there's ice on the surface. They don't know if there's anything underneath it, and all they're saying is that there's possibility. There's possibility for doing something because I know there's been talk about people going back to the moon in like the next 10, 15 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's just
Blowing
science
smoke.
guys fucking swinging dicks around, that is a whole nother argument to be had. But, I mean, I think it's super cool that there's that potential. Because, I mean, the stuff that we're finding out about us, about our world, about the worlds around us and things like that, I think this is one of the most exciting times to be alive in terms of science.
Right. Like
Without a doubt.
science in the last almost 20 years has developed exponentially, and I feel like a lot of our generation is lost on it.
I think you're right.
I think we kind of take it for granted that everything has developed so much due to our exponential growth in technology and everything else. But think about if you were saying this back in the 60s or the 80s, like there's ice on the moon, possibility to,
They just landed on the bastard.
they
69, they landed on the moon.
right. Like, can you imagine? They'd be like, "What?
What? Well, let's go.
What do you mean I can eradicate malaria?"
That's one thing I wish that I wish I would have been a kid, 9, 10 years
just
old,
a world of
Just-
unimaginable things.
just to see the moon landing on TV and stuff like that. How fucking cool would that have been?
But you know what our generation does?
Fucking
It's a fake. It's a hoax. Never happened.
pissed me off.
It fucking happened. There's a flag.
Flag on the bastard.
If you don't think there's a flag on the moon, you're wrong. What?
Some people's kids, I tell you.
Whatever. I don't know.
You know what pisses me off? When you're talking to somebody and they're like, man, I was born in the wrong time. I wish I would have been born back in the early 1900s, maybe even the 1800s. How cool would that have been? I'll tell you, not fucking cool at all.
No, not cool. Definitely not cool.
Go shit in a hole for the rest of your life. That's what it would have been like.
Yep.
Congratulations, you're there.
Do you like taking showers and washing your hands?
Not anymore.
Well, you don't get that. Also, do you like making roughly pocket change in a day?
Or having a microwave.
Yeah. TV. I get it. You got raised by parents that are old school. All right,
you want a
cool.
simpler time? Go camping.
Yep. Live off the land. Live off the grid.
God.
I don't know. We're kind of drifting off track
Peter,
here.
are you about ready to wrap up?
I mean, we could talk about one more thing. We could talk about the Sentinel project since we're talking about space.
Okay.
You
I
wanna
don't know what that is.
Well, let me enlighten you on the Sentinel project.
Deal.
Okay, so Project Sentinel. If you guys don't know anything about dinosaurs, you would know that they were killed by an asteroid
Big one.
that hit in the Yucatan Peninsula.
Pensacola.
Pensacola. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. I'm never buying you a Coke. But anyways, so this asteroid, it was huge, and it eliminated an entire species of animals.
Dude, you are fucking flat tires.
Dude, I'm trying so hard. But anyways, so this Sentinel project is an early detection device. It's a satellite that we've tried to put into orbit, or trying to put into orbit, that detects these near-Earth orbit asteroids.
Okay.
Or NEOs, as they call them.
Okay.
So basically, these asteroids are common. We've had tons of asteroids that have entered our atmosphere this last, 20 years.
Sure.
There's been at least like 10, I'd like to say, that have come in and are causing seismic waves bigger than the bombs that went off in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
They had
One hit Siberia.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Didn't we? There was a big one that...
In 2014 was the last one that we recorded.
That's what it was.
So they're quite common.
Okay.
But the one that hit Siberia actually made it to land. Most of them burn up before they hit the atmosphere, but they're still letting off these huge amounts of energy when they're burning up in our atmosphere.
Sure.
That are bigger than any atom bomb that we've blown up on Earth.
So far.
So what this Sentinel project does is it tracks these near Earth orbit, asteroids, right?
Sure, okay.
And it wants to, at least let us know before we're going to fucking die.
Heads up.
That's pretty much all it does. But this is where it gets kind of hairy. So the project was scheduled to launch in 2018. So earlier this year.
Okay.
But NASA cut its funding in 2015 because the project had not shown sufficient progression over the years.
Okay.
However, Canada has their own satellite up there. So hopefully our neighbors to the north will let us know if we're going to get fucking clobbered by these asteroids. But the biggest thing is Sentinel was supposed to be a worldwide thing.
Okay.
Now, granted, it's just a detection device, and it's just a tracker.
Sure.
Finding where these asteroids are, when they're going to potentially come into our atmosphere. There has been a lot of engineering conferences that are, what are we going to do when one is going to hit? How can we deflect it?
Magic.
I don't know. I'm thinking a bunch of trampolines.
That could work.
But,
We'll just get a big fan, blow it someplace else.
Yeah, apparently. And I just, it's a lot of gray area, a lot of, nobody knows what's really going to happen. There's a lot of engineers that are like, oh, this is a way that works and this is how we should do it. And it's tested and proven, or not proven, but, tested. And there's a lot of science behind it that could potentially work, but we're never going to know until it actually happens. So we better damn well hope it works, because if an asteroid hits Los Angeles, what did they say? It would take an asteroid about the size of this room to level Los Angeles.
Fuck. You guys can't really see. This room's not that big.
It's tiny. It's like 15 by 20,
give or take.
Yeah. So there's a picture of an asteroid that's about, I don't know, not too big.
Okay.
About the size of this table. If
Sure.
you just made this table a block, guess
Okay.
how much that asteroid weighs?
That it weighs?
That it weighs.
1,000 pounds.
A half ton for rock that big, because it's solid iron.
Ah. Fuck.
That will put a mile-wide crater in the earth.
Damn.
You can actually check this out. There's a crater in Arizona,
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
Go-
I can't remember what it's called, though.
Yeah, neither can I.
They had the deal with Thor's hammer being stuck in there in the first Thor movie or whatever. But it's a real place.
Yeah. Go look. We'll leave the link in the description on our YouTube channel.
We'll find it for you guys.
It'll be a Google Maps link. You can find it.
Yeah.
That asteroid that hit there, that crater's a mile wide.
Damn.
That asteroid was about, I can't remember what Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying it was, but it wasn't very big because it burned up most of its mass when it entered our atmosphere.
Yep.
But when it hit, just decimated everything.
Fuck.
So, it's kind of something that we really need to.
Well, what if, let's say we've got something the size of a school bus coming at us.
Have fun. It's going to knock out the power grid. And there's.
So here's all right. So here's the thing. Let's say this detection deal works 100% flawless, beautiful, detects it coming smooth away.
Right.
It's an asteroid the size of I don't know. We'll just go with the school bus.
Okay.
Something that big. Thing goes off. Imminent impact. What are you gonna do?
There's not a whole lot that you're going to be able to do.
No. I'm saying what do you do with possibly your last little while before we get dusted?
Tell Sergeant Major I hate him. No, I don't know. Probably. Jeez. This is a tough question. I think I'd pet Tiny Jace.
There you go.
I think I'd pet him. I'd crack a cold one and pet Tiny Jace.
Pet the boy.
It's like, all right, tiny boy, it's been cool.
Sorry you never got to fetch him up more.
Yep. I don't know. What would you do?
Oh, God. I'd eat a lot of ice cream. I'll tell you that for free.
Act like you just got dumped.
Oh, man. There would be so much ice cream and, I don't know, probably looting.
Yeah.
Just because, why not?
Why not?
Give it a shot.
Well, we've kind of fizzled out here.
That's okay.
Anyways, guys, it's been wonderful having you again. The 4th episode, 4 weeks in a row. We're going strong.
1 month in.
Sorry we missed Sunday Fun Day. Both of us were extremely tired, and neither of us really wanted to do it.
We were drunk. Really drunk.
But anyways, you can find this on our YouTube channel, Ridiculously Insensitive. Feel free to, subscribe, like, comment. Honestly, comment what you would do in your last little moments of life.
Yeah, something like that.
We want to hear what you guys would do. And if you have any suggestions for what we should cover next week, feel free to drop those in there. You probably won't because nobody ever really listens to us. But
we appreciate the ones that do, though.
Yeah.
Also, we might do this science thing every once in a while. We'll probably bust out the lab coats once in every couple episodes, something like that.
I like doing the science thing.
We'll give her an honest go.
But yeah, I don't know.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Good.
let's
Cool.
get the
See you
fuck
guys.
outta here.